Hi, this is Jay Damson, and today we are going to do a small painting of a avocado. So avocado is kind of a basic shape, and we are going to create one circle and another circle. So I'm going to make them darker because I'm not going to use that paper. But when you're sketching it, don't make it that dark. That's way too dark. So we have a baby circle on top of a mama circle. And what I'm gonna do is I will connect them with a curved line. So do you see what happened? Now I have my avocado shape, and then I'm gonna put the seed inside. So we have 3 circles. You can put the stem somewhere on the top. There's my stem, it's supposed to be. And then I can decide to erase if I'm using a very light paint, which I will, and that's why I don't like to push on with my pencil really hard. So there is my avocado, which almost like the shape of a pear, except the center is a little bit different. So avocado. Let's see, I am going to do a really light, very soft background. If you see one of my favorites, the cups, it's much dramatic. The background is very dramatic. So in this case, I am going to just do a very light background, and I want my avocado to pop. Now, my mug also pops because it's the opposite of the background. So I'm going to reverse it this time. I'm gonna have a very light background, and I am going to have much vibrant and darker foreground. So I'm kind of deciding on what's going to be my background. What do I have for avocado? I have greens, and I have this beautiful brown with a little bit of orange in it, like tiny bit of an orange color in it. So I don't want to use greens. I don't want to use yellow because the yellow is going to take away from that very light green. So either I'm going to go with a blue color or very pale yellow, not yellow, orange. So let's go with a little bit of white, but also I'm gonna go with white and slight orange. And the first thing I'm gonna do is go around my avocado, and it's very pale, super pale color. And you see what's gonna happen to my avocado. So since this is a watercolor paper, I am going to water it down, and then I'm gonna apply my color, and it's gonna act like a watercolor, even though it's acrylic. So very peachy color because I'm using tons of white. And I'm definitely gonna go outside my marks because I will crop this, and I don't want something to be left behind or to have a white canvas. Not that I cannot fix it in Photoshop, but when I'm doing art, I like to leave it the way it is. So I'm making the other side wet. And taking my orange and white, getting it first right at the avocado edge, and then pulling sideways and up and down. Now on this, I am not worried about directions. Actually, it's better if I'm going in a different directions. Now here is the difference between a light paper and heavier paper. This is going to change shapes when it's wet, and when it dries it's going to flatten. But when you're painting, a lot of times you just want your paper to hold the water, and especially if you're using a lot. So this one is something that I painted this morning. So the tutorial, this is a Van Gogh, not a super popular Van Gogh painting, but it's a Van Gogh. This is a much heavier paper, and this is the paper that I'll be recommending for you guys to use. So let's continue. Background is done. So this is our background for our avocado. What is around our avocado? We see tiny bit of, and I don't have brown, but I have brown. I am in my other palette from last week, because I had 2 palettes, and so pretty much I'm painting a painting with paints from last week, acrylic, not oil, because oil is gonna hold, but acrylic is not gonna hold. So unless you do something like that, a lot of times if I don't have something to put over, because I want to, even though it's in a bag, to close it, I will put a wet napkin, and that just gives you enough, it will give enough moisture, and with the cold in the refrigerator it will stay good for, it's a week later. And I'm sure I'm gonna do this again. I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator and see if I'm gonna paint. Okay, so I'm going to do the outside rim of the avocado, and that's the part that we peel off when we are eating it. And I need to go darker, so I'm gonna get a little bit of black with my brown, and pretty much I'm doing a ledge all around my avocado. So this is the brush that I'm using, and this is number 6 round brush. This is a brush that when we have classes, that's what our students will use. So I'm not using something that you guys were not going to be using. I'm using exactly what you're using, even the paints. I'm gonna take a little bit of ochre and just add a little bit of ochre on one side, and that is perfect. All right, so what's on the inside? We have the big seat, and I am going to have a C on one side. I'm gonna take the ochre on the other side. I'm gonna take white, tiny bit of orange, without washing my brush. All this is happening without washing my brush. And I'll close the circle. So now I have a dark side, a light side, and also I have where the light is hitting a little bit harder, which is on the top. Now I'm going to get a little bit more white, and I'm gonna add a tiny bit of white again on the right side, or the side that you decide to put the light. The letter C on this side, the letter C on the other side, then we closed it in with the letter O, and then we created another letter C for the light. And now I want to put a little bit of red. It just seemed like this is the right color to put into a avocado seed. So I'm gonna put a little bit of red. I'm gonna try not to overdo it. So, got the red on my brush and mixed it with a little bit of brown. And I love that. Putting a little bit of red in your brown, it just makes it pop. I don't know if you guys can see it. I will take a good picture or a good scan of this, and I will post it so you can see the actual colors. Okay, so the next part will be the light part of the avocado, or the meat of the avocado, the part that you eat. I'm gonna get yellow, and the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go, let's water down this area because I want those colors to mix. So I'm watering it down with yellow because I didn't wash it, but that's okay because yellow and green play very well together. So there's our avocado. I'm going to take a little bit of green. Now we have to remember our seed is lifted up, so we need to make sure we're going to put a little bit of a shadow on this side, same side as this side of the shadow on the seed. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Alright, so I'm adding the beautiful green avocado, yellowish greenish. And if you see, I'm not even closing on the one side completely because that's our light side. So I'm gonna get a little bit white, that same green with a little bit of the yellow, and very lightly I'm gonna touch here. Okay, so I will add a little bit of a shadow, so I need a darker green. I think this is the green, not the right green. Let's put a little bit of yellow in it and see what happens. Yeah, that works much better. And add my shadow. And also when it gets closer to the skin of the avocado, it gets a little bit more greener versus the center. So I am going to add this. Seed. I'm gonna add that brownish red, tiny bit of that on the part of the skin, just to create more depth. And I'm gonna be turning my avocado around because it's easier for me to pull with my hand than make a circle around. There is that. Let's get a little bit darker right here on this side. So here's what is happening. It's becoming more and more three-dimensional. And if you look, the background is very muted and the avocado is punched out. Even though the inside color of the avocado is light, we still feel like the avocado is popping. So I am going to add a tiny bit of orangey yellow. And also I'm going to add it right here. But I am talking about adding specks, not enough to make a big difference. Also a little bit of white. And I think we are so close to being done. Now, if we look at the avocado, what does it look like? It's not super three-dimensional because if it's standing up from the surface, it will cast a gentle shadow on that side. So we need to add that shadow. We don't want to forget it. And the colors I used was white and orange, but I have to go a little bit more orange. Plus, I'm going to add a little bit of ochre in that. So the ochre and the orange will give me a shadow. Now, before I go really hard on it, I will wash my brush gently, and I am going to experiment and see. So the part that is thicker will be where the seat is, and I'm gonna give a little bit more of a shadow right there. I'm gonna need a smaller brush. So this is a 0. I think it's a 0. It's too old for me to tell, but I think it's a 0 or it's a 1. But just get the smallest brush you have, and I'm going to go with the black. And again, I'm using a transparent black, which means I have tons of water, but it's not dripping from my brush. And add this right there. Let's add a little bit of effect right there, shadow. There's one thing left. I think I'm gonna do it in this color. So here's palettes from last week, and I'll pack them in the refrigerator again in a plastic bag and see what's gonna happen next week if I'm going to be able to use them. So signing my name, and since I use this color for my signature, I would love to add it. Why not? Never be afraid of colors. So I did not add the tiny area where the stem goes, so why not do that too? And I'm gonna go in. I'm going to give a little bit of yellow and green. Wow, this yellow is dry, but this one is completely wet. And create a lighter color brown right here on the top. I'm gonna get the black. Too thick. That stem looking thing. Now super highlight on the light side. Stem and also the seed. So even though I added the highlight in the beginning, I can add it towards the end again if I decide to. So there